All right. This is going to be like an unusual Mondays with Mark Allen because, a lot of times I pick people that are very sort of, I guess you'd say, famous in the sport of triathlon. But I wanted to have you guys listen to somebody that I've gotten to know over the last year or so, Andrew Cartwright, because he's like this incredibly busy guy and amazingly successful at his work. But he also achieved one of those great dreams in triathlon of crossing the finish line in Kona. And so I kind of wanted to just give you an insight into maybe, especially for those of you who are thinking, gee, I just don't know if I've got the time to train for an Ironman, to sort of get your insights, Andrew. So welcome to Mondays with Mark Allen. Great to see you. I haven't actually seen you since you crossed the finish line in Kona.
I know, right? I've been out to the Bay Area, but we haven't hooked up yet. So I'm hoping we can hook up and you could be on the podcast, which would be super cool. So but as far as time, you make time. I'll give you an idea of I've started 32 companies in 17 industries, bought 17 companies, had 5 exits. I have a YouTube channel that gets about 20 million people that see me a month. I was making 3 videos a day, 7 days a week, script, edit, and post. And I run several companies. I have a lending company that I have unlimited money to lend in real estate for single family to fourplexes. So I'm constantly figuring out how to press the button to make people's dreams come true. We're buying businesses together. I just got off a call a couple minutes ago with, I got 9 people we're buying businesses together. Should be about $45 million. I'm getting on another call where we're looking to fund next month 3 companies, $3 million, $1 million apiece. So we've been going through due diligence. And to me, I love the fact that I get the opportunity to be able to train. Like, to me, it's a bonus to get out there and actually train. So I think the first thing is, don't overthink it, I think, is the big thing. Don't
Hmm.
overthink it. Sign up, sign up, and don't pick the option that allows you a way out. Don't wait. You know that I could have medical stuff. Forget that.
Hmm.
Sign up, commit to it. Because what was great about signing up is I was living in terror with the idea that if I don't train, I won't quit and I don't want to die. So the crazy thing is, if you just sign up, like, just take the first step, put your shorts on, and the crazy thing is, if just go outside and take a walk. Before long, you'll feel so guilty, you'll start jogging. And then when you feel even more guilty about jogging, you'll start running. And
Hmm.
it's just, I don't know, progressively, I think that's the thing. But like, you feel so good training. I mean, an hour into running, you're going to get endorphins. So, like, it's just plus, plus, plus. And the cool thing is, when you get a medal at the finish line, especially when you've gone to the World Championship, I can brag about it for life,
Hmm.
right? I don't get to brag like you, 6-time world champion. Good Lord. You inspire me.
Hmm.
Um, I just, the kind of, I mean, should have another category like past Ironman. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they want to bring us all back and do like a an old guys tour, and I go, it's not like golf, like to get across that finish line, you've actually got to train, you've got to be in pretty good shape. But going back to, like I know my life, no matter what I have going, my calendar feels pretty full, right? But then when I add something in that is sort of like a passion, all of a sudden it feels like there's this little window that opens up and gives me that opportunity each and every day to actually pursue it, or to pursue it enough so that I get to a level where it has fulfillment and satisfaction, and sort of like you said, that day-to-day thing of, like, that feels good to go out and do that hour. It's something that I get to do. It's not something that I have to do. Was that kind of how it worked for you in that whole lead up to Kona last year?
absolutely. And what is really cool is when your necessity level to train raises to a certain level, all the excuses okay, so your life the way it is now, if you sign up and say you're going to do something, the crazy thing is what used to be a reason is gone. What used to be an excuse is gone. What used to be as a justification not to eat right or not to exercise is out the door. And the stories, you don't have time for stories anymore. And what's really weird is your productivity in your life, in your relationships, in your company, like everything raises to a whole new level. It's so hard to explain because it's such it's like you got to experience it to get it. Like going across that finish line, I felt like I jumped 3 feet in the air. I mean, they're selling my photos online for $500 a piece on my finish photos, which are like incredible. And I got to hug Mark right when I was in that moment, and it was like, it was just, there's just nothing like it. And
Yeah.
the love that is there and support is just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I've heard so many people say that before, like they go, my life was really busy and I thought I was very organized, but then I took up triathlon and I started training for an Ironman, and all of a sudden it got more clear to me where I was just kind of wasting time, and all of a sudden everything started to fall in place better, as opposed to feeling like I'm barely holding it together now that I've added in this training. Sounds like that's exactly what you went through last year.
Yeah, what used to take hours is done in 10 minutes.
Mm.
What might take a week is done in hours. You just, it's so much of what you think. The song too fits so well, is that, like, the Iron Man song is just, it really fits. The thing is, you really don't know what you're capable of until you actually commit to something outside of what you think you can do. I've never signed up for an Ironman thinking I could finish.
Mm.
I've always been like, oh my God, like this is a 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and a 26.2, it's a marathon. And no one can help you. No one's going to save you. There's no, hey, Mark, can you run these next 4 miles for me? I'm going to take a break. There's none of that. So, but I love that. It makes you accountable. What it does to you, I think, emotionally, mentally, and physically, is a full transformation into the possibility that you are. And the grain of sand that most people think they are is just a grain of sand on the beach of who they are. Like, it's amazing. And even with you, like talking to you just so opened me up to really taking care of myself, really finding deeper reasons to do Ironman on a spiritual level. You're like my spirit guide, as far as Ironman. I feel more like your direction than like a Dave Scott, where it's all about competition.
Yeah.
I'm there because I love it, and I see that yours was all from love too.
Well, and I had that same feeling like you, even though I was a professional and I was going for the win and all that kind of stuff, there was an aspect of those goals that was exactly like what you were saying. Like there's an uncertainty about it, but it's that uncertainty that sort of scratches that intrigue of commitment that gets you going and gets you out the door each day. And for me, I think it's those goals where I go, I'm not sure if I can do this, but it's calling me. Those are the ones where you go for it and you really feel like you're living.
Yeah. That's an exact, like, I have never felt more alive than in training and in the Ironman. I would say that your self is like fully actualized, along with people. I remember one of the things you told me that I really resonated was, it was about, you could be the best trained and everything, but if your whole day doesn't come together, then the other guy might run past you. And it was really accepting where you were in the moment and staying in your race, in Mark Allen's race. Because whatever race I'm in the Andrew Cartwright race. I'm not in a race to beat. I'm not going to beat you. You're you're unbelievable. But I mean, literally, you're in a race with yourself, and I think there's no better competition than to listen to your own body and listen to your heart. The competition, I think, is like the comparison is probably horrible. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Compare yourself to who you were before you did the Ironman and who you become after.
Yeah. Well, that image that you said, like, you know, who you are today is just one grain of sand on the whole beach of who you could possibly become. What what grain of sand did you find, or what grains of sand did you find from that whole experience about Andrew Cartwright that you didn't know before, didn't have before?
You know, what's interesting is it's every day. Every day I would have new, like during my runs was like a meditation. So I would process thoughts that answers would just come. Like I would have a problem, and by the run, I would solve the problem. By the time I was done running, that problem was solved. My brain just figured it out, and I think some of the biggest things were part of the reason you know, it took me 10 years to do the World Championship Ironman and go there, but and do that. But my big thing was really understanding the why. And for me, the biggest reason why was really at this point, after 10 years, is to inspire other people to take on their dreams. Like, I want to be the example of that. And I think if you know you want to be an example to your family, you want to be an example to your friends of what's possible, you lift the bar. I'd say I lifted my bar. The moments were magical. I was, you know, every Ironman, I'm completely scared. I mean, you're with 2,500 people. I would say, you know, terrified in a good way. I like being terrified. You know, I'm terrified when I buy a business. You know, it's like we buy real estate all over the country. We fund people all over the country with our own money. So yeah, I think my back off is gone from doing stuff. I just do it rather than thinking about it too much, because that's kind of gone away. So there's really been a transformation about I'm more action oriented, where prior I kind of got loose and kind of chilled. I'm 54 years old, so you know, and I feel better than ever as a result. But I really listen to my body. I think that's some of the takeaways, is just really caring about my joints. I think about my nutrition. I think about my health. I think about my headspace. And I think my relationship's better with my wife. You know, so, and I think too, she was there like during the race when she was nervous, when she couldn't see me between things, she was crying. She was literally crying, afraid. I think she cried with you.
Well, she was texting me throughout the day, giving me updates and telling me how you were doing. And so, you know, I could feel her anxiety in the text messages. You know, she was trying to be cool, but like, you know, the hardest part about Ironman actually is not doing the race. It's watching someone you love do the race, because the person in the race, they're basically, they can affect what's the day's going, how it's going. But as a fan, as someone cheering, all you can do is just watch and send them good energy. But, you know, you mentioned that just who you become, who you've become, and the things that you learned are so important. And I tell people all the time that greatness in athletics has nothing to do with speed. It has to do with what you gain from it and how it transforms you and changes you. And if athletics is just a placing or a finishing time, you'll forget about that, but you'll never forget the experience. You'll never forget the journey along the way. You raced Kona last October. We're now almost into March. What would you've had time to think back, what would you tell somebody who's saying, you know, I'm listening to this and I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm still on the fence. How are you going to kick them onto the other side where they go into that unknown?
So I would say stay on the fence, go to Ironman, pick a race you want to do, and pay for it.
Hmm.
And then start running, start training. You can be on that fence forever, and then when you finish across the finish line, you'll be done. It's so amazing, and this is a tough thing with lots of people. Like, I want people to be successful more than they do. I find that with the people that I'm coaching and funding, and like I'm like trying to press the button and give people millions of dollars, and it's like, just do the math and figure it out. It's like, to me, buy it, commit to it. Everything else will take care of itself. Anything you're worried about today, you'll realize there's no reason to worry about it. Just sign up for the race. I know that sounds crazy, but everything else will sort itself out. Everything will. And the other thing is, you've got this unbelievable community of support. And the volunteers that come out, and it's so amazing. And I mean, I've been doing them for a decade. I did them because I wanted to get close to somebody when I started. And he's been to the World Championship Ironman 30 times in Kona, Northwest. He's just unbelievable. I still train with him. Occasionally, he still, in some things, kicks my butt. He still outswims me. I catch it. I beat him on the run now, finally. But, and he's 20 years my senior. So I used to tell him, I said, you always win because you're older and you got more experience. And, because he'd always like to harass me in training because he's been doing this. But your level of fitness will find a whole new level that's amazing. And your energy throughout the day just becomes unbelievable. And when you have this endurance energy training, like, it's amazing what you can do. Like, what my ability to focus on long projects that take intensity, like underwriting a deal or going through documents, or my ability to focus is at a whole new level. And my ability to do things, long projects like companies I've built since we've talked. I've built Grant Velocity. I built Transaction Room. I built companies since we talked. These are long projects with like a bunch of engineers that are coding in the background. And like, I think I see things in a totally different light of, I don't need instant gratification, because you're not going to get it here.
That's huge. Yeah.
If you want long lasting, everlasting, enjoyment, then I think endurance training is the best, because you don't go for that quick hit. You go for like, when you can be patient and gradual. Like, you were talking about your patience, when you were winning. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. My hair is standing up. But when you were telling me that, and you were pacing yourself, and you let Dave pass you, and you're like, and you're, you didn't fall apart. You're like, hey, this is my race, and you didn't let it affect you. I'm literally, I got goosebumps, my hair standing up. The stories you told me are just like amazing.
Good stories. Something that really resonated that you just said was that, sign up for the race. Don't worry about all the things you're worried about. They'll all fall in place. And that's so much like how symbolic for how it is. Like the day before the race, people get worried about everything, and they're thinking about everything. And how am I going to handle this? How am I going to do that? What if this happens? What if that happens? And I tell people all the time, 90% of those things aren't even going to come up. And the things that do come up are so much easier to deal with in the race than they're thinking how you will deal with them in advance. And so I love that. Like, everybody out there, if you're thinking about doing an Ironman or something challenging, something that you don't know if you can finish, you've never done before, sign up, make that commitment, and then take that first step. That's worth gold right there, Andrew. Thank you. That's awesome.
And I think the whole idea is that you shouldn't think you could do it. That's the idea of an Ironman. If you think you can do it, I don't know what to say. Like, literally, you should have in your mind that you do not think you can do it. This is supposed to be a daunting, life-changing, like, yeah, like, don't wait till you think you can do it. Sign up for it and show yourself what you are possible, who the possibility of you really is, because it'll blow you away what's possible. And I'm not even at the level of you, Mark+Allen. My God, the possibility of freaking 6, where like you beat everybody 6 times. Like, good Lord, and there you are, you're still showing up in Hawaii and listening to me say, I don't know if my swim time is going to be bad. You're like, you'll be better in the race. And I was. I had jellyfish bites. I had, the whole bit, and I got cramps twice on the swim. And, I did a better time than when I did my practice swim. So it was just amazing. And I think you forget, just, relax. And then when the cannonball goes off, I think just, it's just an amazing time. And you have all these people that love you and volunteers that are on this. Like, it's just so much love. And even the athletes that pass you, go, keep it up. And people that are, you're going by, you give them love. There's just so much. It's amazing. And one thing you said that really I did the whole race was I sucked in the beauty of Kona. I sucked in all the beauty, all the people. I was really present through the whole race. I wasn't thinking about the finish line. I was thinking about every moment along the race and enjoying every aspect of it. So I really got to enjoy a whole race because of your coaching.
Wow. Well, thank you. That was it was great seeing you cross the finish line. I'm going to try and coax that finish line photo from you so that I can show it to everybody, because if you want one of the iconic, like, just ecstatic moments, it was captured on in that 1/100th of a second of Andrew Cartwright crossing the finish line, October 2024. Andrew, thank you so much for taking time, and good luck with all the adventures you have going. And I hope all of you out there listening really, I hope you got something from this, got some inspiration, and maybe just that little extra ounce of courage you need to take that big leap. So thanks, everybody. Mondays with Mark+Allen. We'll see you on the next one.